Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another fantastic episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. My name is Bernadette Desir, and I'm your host. And joining me today, all the way from the UK, is Mara Marchesi. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Welcome, welcome. So you were telling me that it's evening there in the UK?
It's 5 p.m. right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Do you guys get lots of rain there? That's all I've heard.
Let me tell you, it's raining right now. So yeah, unfortunately we do,
Oh, wow. Well,
which it's
yeah.
difficult to accept, but London makes it easy. I mean, like London is an amazing city and I'm Italian, so I miss the sun,
Yeah,
but it's an amazing city. So you kind of put up with the bad weather.
yeah. How long have you been in the UK for?
About 15 years almost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to get into what you do and how you do it. But before we start, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Mara, aka the Intuition Queen. I help entrepreneurs and creative people. I call it creative soul because you might be someone that has an idea, want to do something creative
Mm.
in transition, or sometimes I work with clients that don't know what their purpose is, and then turns out to be something amazingly creative.
Mhm.
Because I think creativity is within us, and it's what lights us up. And I help them heal and release limitations, be that fear, be that
Mhm.
mindset, anything that blocks us and that we don't really understand or know about. And I help them tune into their energy of abundance and create the life that they desire.
Mm.
So I'm a life coach, I'm a healer, I'm a psychic, and I use all the modalities that I've learned throughout
Mhm.
the years, and that I'm really passionate about, like color therapy, human design, and everything that
Oh,
I
wow.
feel it's appropriate to the person I'm working with.
Ooh, I love that. There's so much we're gonna unpack. You guys, this is gonna be an incredible episode. Whew. So let's get to know you a little bit. Were you born psychic? And if so, what was it like for you?
Um, I don't know if I was born psychic. I knew I think I think I was.
Mm,
So the way my soul speaks is in color. So color have always made me very, very happy.
yeah.
But at the time, I had no idea. So creativity, intuition, we're always there.
Mhm.
Also, because I come from a family that, although they deny it, but they're all been very spiritual and that kind of psyche. My mom has dreams of things before they happen, and they're not necessarily related to us. Like could be related to something happened on TV, and she would just come to me and say, "Hey, I had a dream about this," and then
Mm.
2 days after they will talk about it on TV and things like that.
Wow.
So I've always had this intuitive and very sensitive nature, but
Mhm.
but I don't think I was able to express it properly because I grew up in a dysfunctional family, and so it wasn't that safe for me to be like that. I realized that my intuition was very strong when I started to take my own way and when I actually moved to London. I
Mhm.
knew it before. I knew that I could feel people's energy, but I can tell you this is what I felt now because I know what I'm talking about. But at the time, for
Mhm.
me, it was very simple in meeting someone new, for example, and feeling like something was off and being like, I don't like that person. And then people will be like, why? Why? And I had no idea how to explain it. It was just a feeling for me, which was often very much confirmed. But you know, when you're around people that don't understand it, they try to force something out of you. So
Yeah.
that was always a thing for me, or it was always like I knew what was wrong and what wasn't. I knew if that person was right or not. So I always try to follow that, but I think that my development really started when I moved here because I was by myself and there was nobody around to say yes or no. So I had to rely on myself. And that's where
Yeah.
everything started to come up, and I realized that my intuition was always right, it was always strong.
Hmm.
And only when I became then a coach and I started to go into the spiritual word, the healing word, that then I learned everything else about me. But I would say probably I always was, but I was never allowed to express that safely.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. And you're not alone in the way that you felt. When it comes to expressing your gifts. I myself was born, I think, open as a child. I still don't know how to harness my gifts, and it's just wild. Okay,
Yeah.
so just last night, I get past life visions. I do regressions. I don't know. I was speared in the chest, and it was just bloody and gruesome, some of the stuff I see. So I don't know what that's about. Normally I get guidance, but it can be scary, isn't it? When you don't know what's happening, which is where I'm at, and many people are at. What would you say to someone like me or other people who are very scared of their gifts? They don't know how to harness it and use it properly.
Well, one of the thing is that I would suggest, I don't know if you do anything. You must be doing something because you have this podcast and you have all those people. So you
Yeah,
must be already. So what I would suggest about what you said
yeah,
is to ask your intuition or your soul
yeah,
to guide you. But if you're afraid, and I understand it, because when you
mhm,
feel something that it's not yours
yeah,
and that it's so deep,
mhm,
it is scary. You don't want to carry on. So what one thing that I suggest you do is, I don't know what are your spirit guides and what you believe in. Like, I always ask angels, and
yeah,
especially Archangel Michael, to help me and to protect me if
mhm,
I am in a situation where I'm feeling something that it's weird, or I'm like scared. Sometimes
mm,
at night, it has happened a few times where I felt there was a presence.
yeah.
And at night, it's dark and you
I
don't
don't
know.
like
And
night.
right?
Yeah.
And even if I am very much aware of everything that I am, everything that I can channel, everything, sometimes it just feels that way. So whenever I am in that state, I always ask Archangel Michael to come through
Mhm.
and to protect him. So for you, I don't know what that is. It might be just God. It might be a specific person that maybe
Yeah.
passed. It might be something, a specific
Mhm.
divine figure, whatever that is for you. But just ask that to protect you and to guide you to understand why you're feeling that way,
Mhm.
because there is definitely something there. And I don't know if maybe you work with clients and maybe it's related to one of the clients you're about to have, maybe today, maybe tomorrow,
Mhm.
or it's something related to you. But there's always a reason why we feel that deep.
Mm.
And if you're feeling afraid, it's probably because, like I said, you didn't feel safe before.
Yeah.
Uh, but try to realize that right now you're in a different position.
Mhm.
And so you can be yourself. So maybe there is a little bit of change of story that you have to go through there, and stop
Yeah.
saying that, but also ask your intuition to guide you, and to you're never going to receive
Mhm. Mm.
a gift with the capacity that you have if you cannot handle it. You're
Yeah.
never going to receive anything
Mm.
if you cannot handle it, if it's too much, or if it puts you in danger. You
Mm.
only get what you can handle, or what it's important for you to receive, because in that moment in time it's either something that you need to use for your safety, or just because you need to expand your gift, or because you need to help someone else, or you need to get more guidance.
Mhm.
There is a reason for it. So just ask yourself for
Yeah.
that moment, and maybe do it in the morning where you feel like there is light and all of that, and it's not scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So we've heard of the word intuition. If not, all of us toss it around. But what does it really mean? And or all of us born with intuition and have it?
Yeah, it's our inner guidance, and it's our connection to the universe and
Mhm.
to the spiritual part of ourselves, to our soul.
Mm.
So that you believe in God or whatever else that you believe in, it's that connection to a different rail that will guide us. And yes, we all have it.
Yeah.
Um, it is expressed differently per person.
Mhm.
I feel things, I see things, but as I go more, I feel it in all of my senses.
Mhm.
While when I started, it was just like a feeling or a vision. So everybody has it differently. And it's that inner knowing that tells you in a way or in another, not, most of the time, it's either a sensation or a physical sensation.
Yeah.
Um, and
Mhm.
it tells you yes or no. So if we learn that, what I do is to help my clients to trust their intuition,
Yeah.
because oftentimes, and you can probably tell me this, we say, oh, intuition doesn't really work on me, but if my clients have kids, or but I felt this for my friend, my brother, my mother, my kids, my this, my that. You might feel some intuition for someone else
Mhm. Mhm.
that you trust, but then when it comes to you, you're not able to do it, especially when it's about really important things. There's
Mm.
always so much second guessing and stuff, and oftentimes is because maybe you weren't allowed before, and so you've learned that your understanding, your inner knowing doesn't matter, or it's not important. And
Mhm.
so that's why we feel like we are not intuitive, but all of us are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you can start with very small things, doesn't have to be something big, but
Yeah. Mhm.
we're all intuitive. And the more you learn to trust your intuition, trust yourself, the
Mhm.
more that will expand, and it's going to become something that it's just there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not something that you need to try to find within you. It's there, and it's going to work when it needs to be working. Like if you meet someone, something inside of you will say, oh my God, this person is amazing, rather than just pay attention.
Mhm.
And it's within us, and you just need to give it time to expand within yourself so that you don't even need to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the gut feeling. Sometimes we say, I
Yeah,
have a bad feeling about this, but sometimes we ignore it. Sometimes we don't. It's like a map, a campus.
yeah,
Sometimes we just
exactly.
ignore it. We just do whatever we want, and then the consequences come later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, fear gets in the way, which
Mm.
comes from the same place. So it's very easy to think that you're acting out of fear rather than intuition.
Mhm.
And fear takes a lot of time and a lot of space within us. And so oftentimes we have an intuition, we feel something, and then fear comes along, and then we listen to fear rather than to our intuition.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah. And you're a creative coach. That's the
Yeah.
first time I think I'm interviewing a creative coach. Can you
Okay.
tell us what is that? What is it you do?
So the way I use a lot of different things to help my clients to use their creativity, because that creativity is connected to your intuition. So the more you do creative things, whatever that
Mhm,
could be, the more your intuition will help you. But the specific way for me to use creativity is through colors. And so color therapy is a very big part of what I do. And
mhm,
one of the things that I get my clients to do is to use their intuition using colors. So, one of the things that everybody can do is to see how your intuition actually works and trust that, which is very easy. Every color has a meaning and as an energy that is could be positive or negative, and can actually influence you on a positive or negative
mhm,
in a negative way. Um, so let's say you have a big meeting tomorrow, and you want to um, feel confident and whatever it is, the message that you want to communicate. I always tell my clients, okay, open your wardrobe and ask your intuition to tell you what color you need to wear or what accessories you need to wear. That give you what you're looking for without you knowing the meaning of the colors and the energy related to that. Just ask your intuition to tell you what color do I need right now to to feel whatever that is.
Hmm.
And it's always very much related to your energy, and you always come up with the color that you need. And so this is one of the things that I get them to do, and I get them to play with colors and to play with different things, so that they can open up their gift and they can open up their receptiveness
Hmm.
on their intuition.
Yeah, yeah. And some of us, if not all of us, we have creativity block. Like
Yeah.
we know what we want to do, but we can't express it. I've had that happen with podcasting. I paint and I do other stuff. I know what I want. I can see the picture, but I'm having a hard time getting to there. What would you say to anyone who struggles like that?
Well, first of all, I would like to know what exactly is going on with you, and what happens. Is it like something that happens all the times when you're about to do a certain thing, or is it random? I would try to understand a little bit more about this block, and then what I will try to figure out is what is the fear behind it. There is always a fear behind it. So you self-sabotage yourself because you're afraid to do something. And
Yeah.
so we'll figure that out. So what is that thing? And this is what I do. I have a session that is called soul alchemy, which used to be called color therapy, but I just don't like the word therapy, so I change it to soul alchemy. And basically, what it is that whatever you're going through, whatever it is that you want to work on, um, we'll work on that. And I'll pull up your color chart based on your date of birth.
Mhm.
So the numbers in your color in your date of birth have a resonance with colors,
Mhm.
and so I will tell you what are your personal colors. And when I get into that, then I start to channel information from your aura, which will tell me if, let's say, for example, that you come to me saying, Mara, I have a block on this.
Mhm.
I want to write, I don't know, a book. I
Mhm.
know everything, but every time I sit down I feel like that, and then I do something else. So we'll look into that. So your aura will tell me, your colors, your energy will tell me what exactly. So I start channeling information and the reason why that is.
Mm.
And oftentimes there is always something happening in the past that blocks us from doing something. So all of the times that we feel there is a block, there is fear behind it. So it's a matter of understanding what is the fear behind it and how can you overcome that fear. Sometimes it's just a matter of knowing, oh,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, that makes sense, and that's it. And some other times, which is most cases, you need to do some inner child healing. So that's why I
Mm.
have a lot of combination if you work with me, because everybody's different, but inner child healing is something super important that we all need to do, but also we need to understand a little bit more about ourselves. So I have a variety of combination of sessions that you can do to figure things out, because for me it's always about, let's understand you right now, what's going on with you right now,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
you are right now from an energetic point of view. And that's why I also do human design.
Mhm.
And let's figure out what is actually blocking you, what's still in your aura that is asking, your aura is asking, your soul is asking to release this part of yourself that belongs to the past. It could be you as a child, you as a teenager, whatever. We have so much experience and we have gone through so many things in our life,
Yeah.
and oftentimes we don't really know what we're really carrying on. We think we're carrying on something, but maybe we're carrying on something else. Or we think that that thing we keep talking about is still affecting us, but maybe it's something else.
Mhm.
So this is what I normally do, and I help to really get to understand yourself so
Mhm.
that you can release something, you can heal something. And then if you want to go deeper, we can go deeper. But to me, colors are the way that your soul communicates with me. And in that way, I can tell you more about what it's not easy to figure out, because you can talk to me for hours and maybe we don't get there because your soul needs to tell me something else.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I love that you're talking about aura. Can you tell us what aura is? I know what it is. Maybe someone who's watching, they've never heard of that word before and what you mean by that.
Yeah, well, the aura for me is that part of you, that part energetic part of you that is carrying on. We carry everything everywhere in our physical body, in our spiritual body, in our energetic body. So the aura for me, it's a spiritual and energetic body, which you can see as something around your body that kind of goes around, but it's the energy that you have. And that energy is that your aura is what kind of drives you and matches whatever is going on with you. So if you are feeling very happy and very open to possibilities, you're going to match with people that are very similar. You're going to attract possibilities because you have that energy within you. If something is going wrong within you and you're very negative, you're going to attract more of the same. So this is what the aura is for me, the
Yeah.
way I see it.
Oh, okay. Is everyone auric field the same color or it changes? And what does it look like? Is it like circle, a different color of circle, or just flashes of colors? I can't see anything yet. What does it look like?
So the colors change depending on the person, depending on what the person is going through.
Hmm.
It depends. Everybody sees it differently. For me, it's just like a splash of color, but everybody, like, you can talk to a lot of other people that see auras and they can tell you maybe it's a halo around you. So because for me, it just very quick, just like I turn around and I see a color, I'm talking to you and I feel a color. um for me, it works differently, but a lot of people say just a halo that you have around you. And I
Oh,
don't know, I had a horror reading done years ago, and way before I started doing this and way before I knew anything, and that's what actually triggered me to want to look into color therapy, is because the moment I sat down, the lady was like, "Oh, okay, so you have a lot of feminine energy. Your aura is green." I'm like, "What?" And then she started telling me things, and she started to
wow.
explain things about my life. And I had never met this woman. She knew nothing about me, and I was so fascinated that I was like, "How I want to do this?
Yeah.
Like, I want to." So
Yeah.
I got into figuring out why my aura was green at the time, what that meant. And yeah, and that's how I discovered something called color therapy. And I was like, oh,
That's
this
so
is me.
cool. Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
see my color? The auric color I have?
Not at the moment, because you have a background, and normally, like, when I do sessions, I have a moment to tune in, to sit
Oh,
down.
okay.
So I
Yeah,
don't
there's
I
so
don't see
much
it all the
going on
time.
in the back, probably. Too much colors.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't. There are some people that just are always open,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I it depends for me. Like, sometimes, like when I'm working with clients, I tune into their energy before the session.
Mhm.
um Sometimes when I'm talking to someone, a message comes to me and I look at them and I see the card, but otherwise, it just doesn't happen to me that way. I think that would be too much going on for me if that was
Mhm.
always on.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for sharing because you're right. All of us have different ways of accessing our gifts. Some people
Yeah.
they I don't know, they wake up like this, they sleep like this. Some of us we gotta close the book, just to rest the mind and the body and let the soul take over as we sleep. Yeah. And also you're psychic. What is the difference between a psychic and a medium? I've heard both. Some people are both, some are either.
So for me, the medium is that person that connects to the people that have passed on in your life. So I
Okay.
don't do that. It never happened to me to do that.
Okay.
A psychic is someone that is able to enter your energy field and receive messages that are related maybe to your past, but
Mm.
and then you need to hear. So what was explaining to you earlier is when I talk to people, um, I often receive messages,
Mhm.
and especially when I'm doing the soul alchemy session,
Yeah.
I start to feel into your energy field. And so I start to feel all the emotions that you're feeling related. So
Mm.
going back to the example that I was making before
Yeah.
about, let's say that you have a session with me, you have this creative block, you're like, Mara, I want to know what's going on and
Mhm.
why. So when I tune into your energy, I normally start to feel a specific or more emotions.
Mm.
Could be fears, could be something else. And normally what I start to feel is specific situations.
Mhm.
I had a session recently where um, I started feeling that this person had been wanting to to have a different career from what she had.
Mm.
For whatever reason, it was impossible for her to do what she wanted. So she wanted to do something different. And
Mm.
so I started to tune into all of this, and I had no idea because what we were supposed to be talking about was different,
Mm.
but it was related. And the reason why she felt blocked was related to this particular episode. So I started to go into the, and then she filled in with the details.
Yeah.
So this is what happens to me. Like
Mhm.
I would see an image,
Mhm.
I would see colors that are either colors you need to work on. Every color has a specific meaning. So maybe I'm talking to you, and then you're maybe sharing something with me, and then I go, okay,
Mhm.
I see red and I see this, you need to do the, and it's
Mm.
just a message that I start channeling from your energy. So
Mm.
I think everybody works differently, but
Yeah.
for me, that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love your approach. Yeah. Um, do you get overwhelmed? Are you an empath?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I get overwhelmed, I get very scattered, and yeah, I have a lot of ideas, I have a lot of energy, and when I don't have the energy, I get frustrated.
Mm.
But that's where human design helps me to
Yeah.
get back into myself because I am a generator in human design. So I
Mhm.
have a lot of energy. When I don't have energy, I want to do stuff, but then I don't have the inspiration. So I get
Mhm.
frustrated. So, and I get overwhelmed. So, human design has helped me to understand a little bit more about how I function energetically. And that has helped me to stop pushing when
Yeah.
I think I should be doing things
Mhm.
and just stay more into my energy and figure out what exactly do I need to do if I feel either overwhelmed or
Mm.
frustrated. And normally for me, it's either stop doing what I'm doing and just get
Mhm.
out,
Mhm.
or um, figure out a plan to take action. So
Mm.
I'm not doing it in that moment, but I'm kind of like regathering all of the energies and all of the information, be like, okay, so I feel this way, I want to do this, but I feel that way. Okay, what can I do that makes me move forward but without having to do. So maybe I just go through all of the things that I want to do and I do, okay,
Mhm.
today I'm just going to do two things rather than 10, So for me, it's about knowing that I'm moving forward.
Mhm.
And the difficult part for me is maybe doing one thing rather than 10.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh, we are used to think that we have to always be busy, otherwise, we're not moving forward.
Mhm.
But
Mm.
sometimes maybe I'm doing this podcast today and that's it. That's enough.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so it's really about going back to learning to understand yourself, how you function, what's going on with you, and figuring out
Mhm.
what are your personal tools
Yeah.
to move forward when you feel overwhelmed or scared or whatever emotion you're feeling.
Mhm. Yeah, it sounds like you're talking about boundary a little bit. Boundary with yourself and the work that you do.
Yeah.
What do you do to unwind? Do you have a favorite activity that you do? Something you just love to do, and when you do it, it feels amazing to do it.
I love walking and being in nature,
Mm.
and I love music so much that, and I love, I live in London, and so there are so many musical places here. Like, so
Mhm.
when I have the time, I like to go check out the places where this particular. So, I know all the sites where Freddie Mercury and Queen used to, play, and the studios where they used to live and all of that. So I like to do all of those kind of things because I really love music. So I'm always looking at interviews and want to know the stories. I love reading
Mhm.
books, um, exercising, and generally it's something related to either nature or going around London and, discovering new places, meeting new people, those kind of things.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's say if I were to come to London, which I hope I'm coming one day,
You're
what would
welcome.
you suggest for me to come see first, like as a tourist?
Well, tourists always want to see the things that everybody wants to see. So normally, if when I moved here, I had a lot of friends coming, and they would probably stay like a week,
Yeah.
and I would say, okay, you go do the, touristic thing for the first few days. I'll go to
Yeah.
work, and
Yeah.
then the other days where I got holidays, so that we can stay together, I'll take you to the places where you wouldn't go because you don't know the city and you don't know. But normally, for me, it's like, okay, so what are you interested in? And
Mhm.
then I try to create a tour that makes sense for you. Like I have two cousins. One is an architect and one is an engineer. And so I remember one came soon after he graduated. So I took him to see all of the new buildings,
Yeah.
this architect and this and this architect and that.
Mhm.
Um, and I had another friend that was like me, crazy about music, and I took him around to see all of the musical places, Abbey
Yeah.
Road and the
Oh,
picture
wow.
here and this and that. I love doing those kind of things. I think everybody's very different, and
Mhm.
if you tell me, Mara, I love food and I just want to go to see, I will create a tour for you that allows you to see all of the historical places, but also something different.
Yeah. What kind of music you like?
I love pop and rock. I love almost all kind of music.
Yeah.
Um, I love a lot of pop and rock music
Mm.
mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's really cool. In your own opinion, how does the soul speak to us? Because it does, right? How does it do
it
it?
does. Well, through your intuition. So everybody has a very different way, but there's
Mm.
so many different ways. It can talk to you through animals, through numbers, through colors, like it does with me. There are so many different ways, and it really is important to understand what's your way. There are so many. Like I also read oracle cards, and that's also another way that you receive messages. Um, you need to learn to understand what is your soul's language, and for you it could be something different. For me it started with color, and then I learned to see and receive messages differently, and
Mhm.
I know how my soul communicates with me. And now I know that, for example, when I ignore it, it becomes an actual physical voice that says something, even if I am surrounded by nobody, but I hear it as if someone is right behind me and says something.
Mhm.
But the way it comes to me is really, it's like a physical sensation that comes from my gut, comes out,
Mm.
almost comes out of my mouth, but I hear it as if someone is behind me,
Mhm.
but it's coming out of me.
Mm.
So you really need to learn to understand how that communicates with you, and trust that that's the way your soul wants you to receive messages. And as you move forward, as you continue to trust, then you will find different ways. But there are so many different ways.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for sharing. What if fear is holding us back? I think all of us have experienced different types of fears, and we have them. How can we remove the fear or push it to the side for a little bit and eventually practice to communicate with our souls? I feel like it's a barrier for me sometimes because I can hear it in my heart, and then there's a different message in my head, and then my passion or vision wants to do something else, and I struggle to bring it together to make one masterpiece with everything?
Well, for me, there are two different kind of fears. There are the fears that you can push through,
Yeah.
and there are the fears that are so ingrained within you that the only way
Mm,
for you to get rid of that or to diminish it so that you can move forward is to do inner child healing. And I tell you,
mm,
mainly because I've done that experience through myself. Like, yes, I do help my clients, but I've gone through that. So
yeah.
one of the things that I didn't realize
Mhm,
that I had that fear so deep. Um,
mhm,
First of all of the fears that I could possibly have came up when I started my business because obviously you're on your own and there is so much you need to think about. But so I grew up with a narcissistic mother, and for people that don't know, narcissistic personalities will always try to push you down, to make you feel less than, and to try to control you.
mhm,
So I knew that my relationship with my mom was something that I needed to heal. And I've done a lot of work on that, work on my money story and all of that, because it's all related. Money, um, self-esteem, and your relationship with your mom. They're all combined to one another. And I knew
mhm,
that um, I was afraid. I felt not good enough in a lot of different situations, and I had fear of failure,
mhm,
which were the things that had come up until that time.
yeah.
But then, so I moved back to Italy for 18 months in 2021
Mhm,
because my soul wanted me to. One day I'm talking to a friend in Italy, and
mhm,
she's like, and I had been having this feeling to want to move away from London for a while.
mhm,
And my idea was the States, but obviously moving to the States is not easy. So I was like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm tired of London and I want to go somewhere else, but I don't know where to go.
mhm,
So while I'm figuring this out, the pandemic starts. And that's where I'm like talking to my friend. I'm like, I really want to get out of here. And she's like, you coming back to Italy? I'm like, oh my God, no.
mhm,
And the week after,
mhm,
I felt this really strong message being like, you're moving back, to the
yeah.
point that I went, what? No. And then that's where I told you, know, my intuition started to. So because I learned that when I feel that way, even if I don't want to do it, I need to do it, and I need to trust that there is a reason for me to do that. I
Mhm,
was like, oh, I really don't want to move to Italy, but
yeah.
if this is what you're asking me to do, okay. So I went back for a few weeks
Yeah.
to taste the water to see how I felt.
Mhm,
It all seemed to feel good. So I then eventually moved. And
mhm,
when I moved back, I remember what it meant to be with my mom.
mm,
And in that 18 months, the reason why I had to be there was because I needed to do deeper healing, because
yeah.
I realized that the fear that I had
Mhm,
was very deep. And the fear was that every time I would become bigger and shine brighter, my mom will sabotage my life and will do something to take that shine away from me, because
mhm,
that's what always happened in my life.
mhm,
And I didn't know that was the deep fear that I had. All I knew was that as I was working on myself, the fear of failure will come up, the fear of not being good enough will come up. But those were all surface level fears.
mhm,
They were there to tell me, okay, so work on this level of fear so then you can move down to this other level of fear. And it was only when I was facing my biggest fear that I realized, oh, this is why I'm not doing this. This is why
yeah.
I cannot uh, be successful in this.
Mhm,
Um, and I did work, and then I came back, and
yeah.
everything shifted for me because I started to see myself differently, but also because doing the inner work that I did, I stopped being afraid of my mom because I started behaving differently. and I started taking my power back. But I had no idea this was the biggest fear. So
Mm.
all of us have fear of inadequacy, fear of failure, fear of success, all of those fears.
Yeah.
But there is something deeper within. And the only way for you to release that kind of deep fear is to do inner child healing.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's difficult to. You're always going to work on the surface level of your fear, and we will have fears all the times. It's not that we work and we never have it.
Yeah.
Um, but it becomes manageable. You start to realize, okay, no, 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 this is my ego taking me back there. No, 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 I know what to do.
Hmm.
But you need to learn to understand what's the biggest fear. And once you get a grip on that and you do work on that, everything else becomes easier, and you start to learn to understand how to manage yourself and how to manage that fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Good for you for going back. Most people normally run away from a storm, but you went to it and you faced
Well,
it.
I moved away and I kind of ran away for
Yeah.
for a while until my soul really was like, nah, nah, you say you're gonna do this. You say you're working in this kind of way. Well, you need to do this in order for you to really help people. I think
Yeah.
that is what was the journey for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being a healer and working with certain people in certain ways,
Hmm.
um, you can only do so much. And I can see
Yeah.
the difference in the way I work and how deep I can go with my clients now, because I don't have the fear of what I used to have. Like, I know I am good at what I do. I know I can help you. I know I can take you where you need to go.
Hmm.
Now I can tell you with conviction. Before I was like, yeah, I can take you there, but deep within, I was like, "And what if I can't? What if she has something big and I am not able to do it?" Now I'm like, no, no, we might need a little bit more time, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So for everybody it's different, but
Hmm.
from my personal experience, what I realize is that there is always something beneath the surface that drives all of the other blockages.
Yeah.
And you just need to work in layers until you're able to get down there.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Why is it so hard to heal? And it's so painful. It's rewarding, but it's just hard to start.
Well, because you don't want to. There's so many reasons, but I think that people don't really want to admit that you have a part in
Mm.
what's going on with you. And also, when you heal, you will naturally change behaviors. You will naturally release things.
Mhm.
And some people are afraid of what they cannot even see because they already have a
Mhm.
story in their mind. Like, I had a few people telling me, I'm afraid of what I'm gonna unpack.
Mm.
And I understand it, because especially when your past is heavy,
Mm. Yeah.
sometimes you feel like you don't want to get there anymore. You think, okay, I have removed that part of my life
Mm.
from my present. I'm doing good enough. I don't want to get there. So I just want to move forward. And for me, it makes total sense. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if you don't release what's there,
Mm.
you cannot move forward. There's always going to be a moment where you get to a point where you feel stuck and you can't go on.
Yeah.
And the only way forward is to look at what's behind you and be like, okay,
Mhm.
let me deal with this.
Mhm.
So, and I think it just fear of thinking that you cannot handle what comes up. But I always say the same thing to everybody. What is going to come up is only going to be enough for you to handle. Like, I have a program that is 12 weeks, and the majority of my clients want to do in 6 months, because it's 2 weeks a month, and it gives them time to do the
Mm.
things that they need to do between a session.
Yeah.
And normally what happens is that as we go through towards the middle and a little bit over, that's when they start to unlock something big. But it's
Mm.
never going to be at the beginning, because you need to get ready, you need to start to understand the small things, release the small things. And as you move forward, and then at some point,
Mhm.
you start to release the big stuff. But when you do, you're ready. So there is no fear. There is only like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that I didn't realize, this is what normally happens. But
Mhm.
it's a process. It's not something like you might think it's something, but maybe it's something completely different,
Yeah.
and people think that you go and do healing and, let's say you cannot attract clients or you cannot find a person, and you go, you do the sessions, and something big is going to happen. No, it's a process. It's a slow, because there's so many things entangled to one another. So until you release all of the bits and pieces, you can't go to the actual uh,
Mm.
matter. And so it's a slow process that you can only handle so much. So you're
Yeah.
never gonna uncover something and get to a deep fear if you're not ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. As you were talking, I'm getting the image of an airplane, right? You gotta load stuff in there, the passengers, and then make sure everyone is seated, and then the message they give, and it slowly, gradually goes and takes off. That's all
Yeah,
I was picturing as you were speaking. Does that
that
make
sounds
sense?
good.
Wait.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But like what do? You wake up maybe early in the morning, you go you take a train or a car, you go to the airport, and then you have to check in and wait, it maybe a flight like the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, I went home and
Mhm.
I decided to take the flight. I decided to go to the airport that is further from where I live.
Mm.
Um, and it took me ages to get home because I was like, why did I do that? But the timing of how I wanted to fly was
Mm.
better there. And
Yeah.
I was like, it took me so long. It took me almost a day for a
Yeah.
flight that is 2 hours,
Oh, wow.
It doesn't make any sense. But I
Mm.
did that. I was like, I'm going home. I'm not going on holiday where you want to stay there for every minute,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it's a process. People want things quickly, but it's an
Mhm.
ongoing process, and you need to allow yourself time to learn who you are, what's going on, what happened, and why are you still affected by that. Let's unpack.
Mhm.
Every time I'm like, let's unpack, and when you unpack, you do it one at a time.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah. Is there anything else we didn't cover that you'd like to share?
No, unless you have other questions. I think we talked about pretty much everything,
Yeah.
all of my favorite topics.
That's awesome. I have three questions for you as we wrap up. The first one is, what is the meaning of life for you?
Enjoy life and do everything you can to make yourself happy.
Mm.
Yourself, not everybody else. Yourself happy. Everything else will come around as you make yourself happy.
I love that. And my second question, where can my listeners find you? Check out what you do and maybe work with you.
Yeah, so you can find me on my website, theintuitionqueen.com. You can find me on Instagram at theintuitionqueen, and you can also find me on Facebook, but I'm about to change the name of my group. So just
Mm.
find me on my website and on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Active.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. My last question. Can you say something in Italian, something powerful to leave us with?
Okay. Um,
I love languages.
ok. Segui i tuoi sogni e segui sempre il tuo intuito.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I don't know what you
What did
just
I
said,
say?
but I love it.
Follow
Wow.
your dreams and follow
Oh,
always your intuition.
oh wow. What does arrivederci? What does that mean? Is that Italian?
Arrivederci. Yeah, goodbye.
Oh, no way. I've heard
Yeah.
of it. I don't know what it means. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, see you soon. Like, I'll see you again.
Oh,
Arrivederci. It's very formal. You wouldn't say that to a friend. You would just say ciao.
oh, that's so cool. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, you can
Mara,
already
thank
say
you.
that to, okay, no, otherwise I'm going to. Thank you so much. This was such an amazing conversation.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love that's why I do what I do. Very, very really good conversations. Yeah. Yeah.
Keep
Thank you so
going.
much for your time. Thank you for what you do. And keep shining, keep inspiring and empowering all of us amazing souls.
Thank you and keep doing the same. This podcast is amazing. You're a great host.
Thank you so much.